All right, well, let's talk about How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk. Okay, so the announcement for the details of this land came out last Thursday, like Jared said. And what's interesting is they teased the announcement of the details. So I think it was Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday, they just put out this like 5-6 second video that said 3/28/24. So it got people excited about it, thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to get more Epic Universe stuff.
Right.
And then they released all the information like early in the morning too. It was like early on Thursday. And we got some more details about what's going to be the land and the attractions and things you can see, do, etc. So first of all, How to Train Your Dragon. Have you seen these movies?
Personally, no. I'm aware of them, but we actually never have seen them. So they're on our list. Some people had commented on the YouTube channel and the videos about the Epic Universe construction. You should really watch them. They are on our list. They just keep getting bumped from our children for like Peppa Pig, Bluey, Trolls, all that stuff. So
we'll get to them.
We will get to them eventually. I've heard they're very good. But I will say, even if, not knowing much about the franchise, I definitely think Dragons and Vikings are pretty universally like that appeals to a lot of people. So
yeah,
I feel like just even if you're unaware of it, it's a good concept for a land.
Yeah, and we'll talk about what the movies, especially the first one, is about, just to give you an idea of what the land will entail. But if you haven't seen the movies, I feel like you could still appreciate this land because of the Vikings and the dragons, and it's very appealing to pretty much everybody. So, but I think that's important to note that you don't have to see the movies to appreciate the land.
Well, I think things obviously very different genres, but I think things like Game of Thrones, Thor, stuff like that. Like there's the Vikings show that's been popular. So I definitely think Vikings, dragons, things of that nature are obviously things that people do enjoy quite a bit. This is obviously a family-friendly version, especially compared to, say, Game of Thrones. But it's definitely something that it's sort of, I liken it as sort of like Pandora with Disney World, where that's a really cool land, even if you don't know anything about those movies.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to. Whether you see the movies or not, you can still enjoy it quite a bit. I imagine that's probably a lot like How to Train Your Dragon Land is going to be.
Right. Well, do you want to read a little bit of what the first movie is about to give you people an idea of what we're working with?
I would love to. So, How to Train Your Dragon, what is it about?
Yes.
So, it says, long ago up north on the island, although the land is called Isle of Berk. This is the island of Berk. The young Viking Hiccup wants to join his town's fight against the dragons that continually raid their town. However, his macho father and village leader, Stoic the Vast, I believe.
Stoic, yeah.
Stoic the Vast. That's a good name. The Vast. I'm going to go by Jared the Vast.
Oh, gosh.
Will not allow his small, clumsy, but inventive son to do so. Regardless, Hiccup ventures out into battle and downs a mysterious Night Fury dragon with his invention, but can't bring himself to kill it. Instead, Hiccup and the dragon, whom he dubs Toothless, begin a friendship that would open up both their worlds. As the observant boy learns that his people have misjudged the species, but even as the two each take flight in their own way, they find that they must fight the destructive ignorance plaguing their world. So, basically, a boy and a dragon become friends.
It's a buddy
movie. Like a buddy cop movie.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And the land is going to have iconic locations, just because we talked about the movies, such as Gobber's Forge, if you're familiar, Hiccup's house, and the Dragon Racing Bleachers. So this is all locations that you're going to find in these movies. These will be in the land, just FYI. So
yes,
this is the largest world, I say in quotes, world, in Epic Universe.
Yeah, it's 16 and a half acres roughly in the size of it. Besides Celestial Park, which is obviously it's got the attractions there, but it's also the main area when you first walk in. That is around 25 acres.
Yeah.
But of the other lands, which you got Super Nintendo World, Harry Potter, Universal Monsters, and How to Train Your Dragon, it is the biggest of those. So, I believe at this point it no longer has a expansion lot. I believe.
Okay.
I think it did initially. It's hard to know for sure, but I don't think this one has an expansion pad anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, just give some perspective. So How to Train Your Dragon is 16 and a half acres. Wizarding World is 14 acres. Universal Monsters is 7. Super Nintendo World is 8.5. And like we said, the Celestial Park is 25 acres. Now, like Super Nintendo has 7-acre pad expansion area.
Wow.
Again, I think all of them except for How to Train Your Dragon have an expansion area. So the Harry Potter one could also grow as well. Like there's a 17-acre one near it. So a lot of these could become bigger. But as of now, it is the biggest land, yes.
Okay. Very cool. And just like the other portals to land from Celestial Park, there's only one entrance and exit. So you're going to have to enter and leave this land in the same place. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to make sure that
I'm sure there's ways for like team members to get around to different areas of the land, but in terms of day guests, there's an entrance and exit area to each land. So it'll operate very differently. There's some people out there some people are speaking very confidently that they think. Now, I don't believe this is going to be the case, that each land is going to you're going to have a ticket to each land. I do not believe that is the case. I haven't heard anything that would remotely suggest that. Some people are saying that. I think it's simply, we've talked about before, Universal has the ability to rent out lands. It's near the convention center. And if a land is at capacity, they can crowd control that much easier with an entrance and exit area. I think that's a lot of it, but it is different in terms of most theme park lands. You can connect and go to other parts versus this one's just you go into this area and it's a self-contained little land and you come out. So
okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah.
Now the land is set in the world between the second and third movies. So again, we will watch these movies to get a better idea of what we're working with. But that is where it's set. They're calling it Isle of Berk 2.5 or something like that.
Which I do want to say, I love how Universal does this. They don't overcomplicate this aspect of when they're building lands and worlds in their theme parks. They simply just take it. They did the same thing with the Harry Potter stuff. It's it's a time period between certain movies for the most part. They're building in How to Train Your Dragon these iconic the statues, when you first come into the Isle of Berk. They're giving you the visuals that from the movies and just saying it takes place in this time period, but not being so obsessed with timeline.
Yeah.
For instance, like Galaxy's Edge.
Galaxy's Edge.
I'm just saying they're very much it's in a very specific timeline, but it limits them on what a lot of things they can do. Versus this, they're not narrowing it down so much, and I think it gives them freedom. And I also think it's what people want. If you like the How to Train Your Dragon movies, you'll see a lot of the stuff that you saw in those movies. Like, wow, that's really cool. The bay is here and Toothless here and stuff like that.
Yeah. I agree. So it is set up as a Viking village. There's lots of dark wood. There's the ships, the bridges, the buildings, little pops of color here and there to make it more, I don't know, kid friendly. I don't know if
I think it's just the colors of the movie. It's kind of more vibrant. I mean, just give it a little pop, I suppose.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a place where Vikings and dragons live in harmony. They're in harmony now. And water plays a big part in this land. They incorporate water in, two of the attractions technically. So, and we'll talk about the attractions in a minute, but water plays a big part because when you first walk in the land, you see just the big water. It's not a pond; it's more like a lake.
It's almost. A bay. It's the main bay. I think it's just the Isle of Berk Bay. But yeah.
Okay. So you see it right when you walk in. And we'll talk more about the land as we go through the attractions and stuff. But the one thing I will say about this land that I'm excited for because of the ages of our children is that it will probably mostly appeal to small children more than any of the other lands in the park.
Yes, very family friendly. I think Epic Universe as a whole, if you really look at it, is very family friendly, edging toward the family friendly side.
Yeah.
They've got the one, Starfall Racers, the dueling coaster, which looks very intense. That is clearly the most intense ride in the entire park.
Yeah.
Everything else is much more milder, which I think is probably them. They understand Islands of Adventure, a lot of thrills. Teenagers and the big complaint people have had with Universal, there's not as much stuff for littles and families to do. How to Train Your Dragon is probably, I agree. Obviously Super Nintendo World, kids love that, but in How to Train Your Dragon, very kid friendly. You've got there's the giant kids play area. Yeah,
there's a kids play area. Yeah. There's 3 attractions, 1 show, 1 main restaurant, a few shopping spots, meet and greets, and of course, more in there. But that's basically what the land encompasses.
Yeah.